Yeah, the Phillies don't like you. The Phillies don't like you. They don't like me. They don't want us to feel the warm and fuzzies that I talked about yesterday. They don't like us. And you know what? I care. I know we're supposed to not care if people don't like us, but I care. The Phillies seem to not like us. 12-3 losers last night to the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, come on, people. We got that to talk about. And Howie Roseman is incredible. That's it. That's like, if it was Twitter, that's the tweet. Like, that's all I need to say. Howie Roseman is incredible. Like, it should be enough just to say the guy orchestrated, the guy assembled, the guy was the architect of the first ever Super Bowl in the history of this franchise and the first NFL championship since 1960 for the Philadelphia Eagles. It should be enough to say that, but there's a long history we have here in Philadelphia. There's the dream team that he assembled. There's the draft for Jason Kelsey was pretty much your only guy to come out of it. There's Jalen Reagor. There's missing on Justin Jefferson. There's missing on, if you want to blame him for this, with DK Metcalf. You can blame him for that. But he is a damn wizard. One of the best GMs in all of football. And yesterday, we went into the safety position. When we were doing the show, the time we were doing the show, we were saying a lot of the same things that we've been saying this entire offseason. They need to upgrade the safety position. And boy, did they, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm talking about a guy, I have more confidence, and we'll get to all his names, but for the purposes of this show, he'll be referred to as CD Deuce, because that's my favorite name for him. I'm talking, of course, about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. New Eagles free safety will play opposite Marcus Epps in the Eagles secondary. Well, I have more confidence in him than I do Anthony Harris, and Anthony Harris was a fine veteran. And the guy that I wasn't worried about, I was more so, of the two, I was more so worried about what Marcus Epps was going to bring to the table as the Eagles starting strong safety, quote unquote. But we'll get to all that. We'll give you all the reaction. Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni addressed the media yesterday, talking about the acquisition and also talking about their final 53-man roster. As you would expect, Jalen Reagor did make the roster. Deon Cain did not make the roster. I was really pulling for Deon Cain. Thought he really had a chance to do it. Of course, I'm hoping that they are able to retain him on the practice squad. We'll see if that's all able to shake out and whatnot. But when it comes to Jalen Reagor, I know that made a lot of people upset yesterday. Although they weren't they weren't surprised, they were still just a little disappointed. They thought they were going to be able to move on from the whole Jalen Reagor era here in Philadelphia. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case just yet. And it's Howie Roseman, you'll hear him say later in the program, everything he did in training camp was great. Worked his butt off, showed up. He showed up for work, folks. What's the old adage there? 90% of success is just showing up. 90% chance you show up, there's a 90% chance that you're going to be successful. So Jalen Reagor, he's successful in making the roster yet again. He is the Eagles' fifth wide receiver. We'll get to that conversation. We'll also let you know all you need to know about good old CD Deuce, the Eagles' new free safety. But let's just start it off with those Philadelphia Phillies, shall we? Just give me 1 second here. I didn't finish my espresso today. I do what's called a espresso. It's called Longo. Basically means it's more closer to coffee than it's strictly espresso. I just needed a little bit more to drink today. Given another late night Phillies game. And I know I did tweet this out yesterday, but it was like I'm up. It's 9:40 at night, East Coast time. You're facing a guy in Zach Gallen who had a hell of a scoreless streak going into last night's ball game and only extended that through 7 scoreless last night. But I was ready to get hurt again. And it didn't take long to get hurt again. Last night, the Phillies lost 12-3. They have lost this series now to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They'll try to salvage one game of the 3-game series. Aaron Nola looked terrible. And in the dark recesses of my brain, I was thinking, there's no way he has 2 phenomenal starts back-to-back, right? There's no way he's going to put 2 of those together, like in terms of another complete game. No, that's too optimistic. Don't be too negative. Maybe he'll give you 5 innings, 6. Maybe he'll give you 6 innings. Let's go 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Let's say he'll have a quality start. He's not going to be dominant, but he's going to have a quality start. And that could not have been further from the truth. Aaron Nola goes out there last night and gets rocked, historically rocked in last night's game. 8 runs, career high, runs allowed for Aaron Nola. 10 hits. 10 hits, matching a career high for Aaron Nola. It was so bad for Aaron Nola. Jim Salisbury, after the game, had to ask Topper, good old Philly Rob there, Rob Thompson, about whether or not he was tipping his pitches. Here's what Rob Thompson had to say about Aaron Nola's start and whether or not he was giving it away on the hill.
It actually looked like some of his spins and some of his velo might have been up a tick.
Yeah, I thought stuff was good. I think the fastball command, some pitches leaked out over the plate on lefties. And
speaking of lefties, McCarthy hits first pitch triple for 2 runs and a first pitch homer for 3 runs.
Yeah,
it looked like he knew it was coming. Do you think he was tipping? Nola was tipping or something?
Oh, we always look at it. We'll check it out, but we'll see. I don't know.
Did that cross your mind in real time?
Yeah,
It did.
it always crosses my mind. It really does. I mean, when guys are on pitchers, it crosses my mind whether they're giving something out.
Did you see it from anybody else but McCarthy?
No, it's just the contact. But then I was asking Caleb because he watches the. He said, "Well, some of those fastballs just aren't executed properly."
It's become something in baseball these days where all of a sudden we're just seeing position players pitch. And here you're taking a look at the wild card standings. As of right now, the Phillies just a half game up on the Padres for the second wild card spot. Padres won last night. They've actually won 4 of their last 5. Milwaukee Brewers lost last night. They lost to the Pirates. They're 2.5 games out of that final wild card spot. Phillies half game up in that second wild card spot now in the National League. But every time I see a position player pitch, which is eventually what happened last night, Nick Maton went in and allowing 3 runs. I'm just like, well, that's pretty much how you can sum up any game. But for Nola last night, I didn't think he looked dreadful. I thought there was a couple of pitches that he definitely left over the plate. You just heard Rob Thompson talk about that. Tip of the pitches, I don't know if they're ever going to come back and be like, oh, yeah, he was tipping his pitches. They asked Nola after the game if he felt that he was tipping his pitches. He said no. He didn't feel like that he was tipping his pitches. So that's a mystery as of right now. But damn, for the Arizona Diamondbacks to jump on him the way they did. And Thompson did talk about that after the game too, talking about how a guy going after a complete game shutout, whether or not he was going to be able to keep that same energy and keep that same velocity and that sharpness on his breaking pitches as well, whether or not he was going to be able to carry that over from one start to the other. It was a concern. And he didn't look dreadful last night, but man, if you want to talk about knowing what was coming, as Jim Salisbury's asking about, you could certainly make that argument because they were pouncing last night. Defense wasn't phenomenal behind him. You had a couple of situations there in the corner in the left field where you had some issues there trying to track down balls, some bad angles taking balls as well. So it wasn't a sharp night defensively. I'll definitely say that. But offensively speaking, I said it yesterday, or 2 days ago rather. I didn't expect the Phillies, after Bryce Harper came back, to get shut out in his 3rd game back as they did against the Pirates. And then last night, you don't get any runs until, the 8th inning? Brandon Marsh gets you a 3-run home run, his first home run as a Philly, and those are your first 3 runs of the ballgame, your only 3 runs of the ballgame, your only offense in that ballgame. Terrible. And Zach Gallen, as good as he has been, now 34 1/3 scoreless innings, consecutive scoreless innings for Zach Gallen, with the 7 scoreless last night, allowing just 2 runs and a walk. That's dreadful. This offense was supposed to be a lot better than that, especially with Bryce Harper coming back to it. And it got the wheels turning a little bit. Certainly not when they were putting up 7 runs in the first game of this series in the first, 4 innings. I wasn't thinking about it. But again, last night, your big guns can't get it going for you. That is a concern. This is the playing down to your opponent, rearing its ugly head again. And I thought we were over this, Phillies. I thought we had talked about this. I thought once you guys were able to beat the Marlins, I thought once you got that Marlin monkey off your back, you were going to be fine. You were going to struggle against the top tier teams, and you were going to beat up on the teams that you're supposed to beat up on. This Diamondback series, losing 2 of 3 thus far, and hopefully avoiding the sweep today, this makes me feel like I used to feel about the Phillies, which is they are going to play down to their opponent, and they can't do that in a time that matters most when they're trying to set themselves up to make a postseason run. Do I need to say it again? September! September is a haunting month. I've given you the reasons why. I've given you the numbers why 1,000 times. Today's your last day of August. The creepy September is right around the corner. The dooming September is right around the corner. Just, you know what? Just end August on a win. Just get a win. That's all I'm asking here. And then we'll go into September and we'll see how you guys do there. And hopefully you guys roll. Just absolutely roll through September. The Diamondbacks weren't supposed to be a concern. They're a big concern. Now you got to go face the Giants, who, by the way, if you notice on the wild card standings here, off the old ESPN website, the Giants are right there with the Diamondbacks in terms of being 9.5 games out of a wild card spot, both 61 and 67 to this point in the season. So that's where we are right now. It was a dreadful performance by the Phillies last night. And as I said, I was just staying up, 9:40, a 5-run second inning by the Diamondbacks. And I'm like, yep, I am ready to get hurt again. I'm going to be tired tomorrow because of some terrible, dreadful baseball. So you know what? Let's move on with our lives and talk about the amazing job Howie Roseman has done this offseason. Because it's really, like, I got to call it as I see it. I ripped him as all get out. I wanted Justin Jefferson on this team. It was not revisionist history. I had said throughout that entire offseason leading up to the draft, Justin Jefferson, if he's available at that spot, you got to take him. You got to make sure you take him. Jalen Reagor was not a guy I had any interest in. And here we are. But I got to call it as I see it. And Howie Roseman has had a phenomenal offseason. And I saw a national voice yesterday, and Andrew Pirloff of CBS Sports Radio put it out there saying that he's getting a lot of Dream Team vibes, 2011 Dream Team vibes from Philadelphia media. I know Dream Team is something that it's like when people bring up booing Santa Claus. We're like, don't talk about that. But when it comes to this particular team, I'm not invoking Dream Team. I will acknowledge, though, if you go into a regular season, or rather, if you come out of a preseason, if you come out of training camp, and you're in that little lull between training camp, between the preseason and the regular season starting off, and you're looking at the roster, and you're going at the offensive line, you're like, all right, check. You look at a wide receivers, oh, check, like pretty much all the way to Jalen Reagor, the check stop there, pretty much. But the first four guys on that depth chart, all right. If you're looking through the roster and you could check off all the boxes and feel pretty damn good about all the positions, the general manager, the president of football operations, did his job. And Howie Roseman did a phenomenal job this offseason filling out this roster. You're potentially talking about the best 53-man roster. Again, that's it. We're talking about paper here. All right? I'm not making wild predictions like all of a sudden this team's definitely going to a Super Bowl or anything like that. I've told you before, I think this team can win 11, 12, maybe 13 games this year. That's how good I think they could be. But when it comes to this particular roster, this is a hell of a roster. And the biggest question mark we had coming out of training camp, coming out of the preseason, was what are they going to do with the safety position? Are they really going to be okay? Are they really going to be okay with Marcus Epps? That's a huge question mark there. So yesterday, late morning, the tweet comes out from old Adam Schefter, Shefty with the atom bomb, putting it out there and simply saying that the Eagles have released Anthony Harris. We knew they got rid of Tart already, and we're thinking, oh, he was going to have a shot. He's a veteran. He's going to have a shot to be a starter on this defense. What are they going to do? Now they're getting rid of Anthony Harris? What is happening? I thought a deal could happen. They most likely would. As much as I liked Reed Blankenship in the offseason, or excuse me, in the preseason, especially in that game against the Dolphins, he was one of the only guys that actually showed up in that game. He's the only guy that made that game meaningful, as a matter of fact. But he goes out there, and I'm thinking, I like Reed Blankenship, but there's no way they're that high on Reed Blankenship, where all of a sudden he's going to be a starter or an undrafted rookie. out of Middle Tennessee. Not going to happen. Well, they kept him on the roster, but they also made a hell of a trade yesterday. Howie Roseman went out there and he got your boy, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. CJ Gardner-Johnson. CD Deuce, as he'll be referred to on this show, or as all other quarterbacks in the NFL and wide receivers refer to him. Pain in the ass. Or as Matt Rule termed him, the best trash talker in the NFL. Here's a look at his career stats right here, courtesy of our social team. We put the stat board together. Here's what they ended up trading as it was encapsulated there by Adam Schefter. Full terms of the trade, Eagles received the safety. Safety plays mostly corner. We'll get to that in a second. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson from the Saints, and then also the Saints' 7th-round draft pick in 2025. So there you go. In return, they gave the Saints a 5th-round pick in the upcoming NFL draft, and then the worst of their two, I like how that's termed, the worst of their 2 6th-round picks in 2024. So this trade will have some ripples in time. Now, this is what was interesting. I don't remember him as a safety. I know that they were trading for the safety. I saw Adam Schefter. I just showed you guys right there that they were trading for him as a safety. I don't remember him playing a lot of safety in the NFL. And it turns out that's for good reason. 2/3, according to Jeff McClain of Inquirer.com, 2/3 of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson snaps with the Saints were in the slot. Less than 1% were as a free safety, where, of course, they'll be playing here in Philadelphia with Marcus Epps. Be interested to see how the Eagles employ him and how it will affect the interchangeability of their safeties. Look, we've always talked about versatility with the Eagles safety position, especially when it came to a guy like Malcolm Jenkins, as we all know. Anthony Harris did not offer a lot of that versatility. Good old CD Deuce seems like he is going to be a guy that will offer a lot of that versatility. I went back, I watched a bunch of interviews that he did. One was really interesting 2 years ago, or excuse me, this past January with NFL Total Access, after he had picked off Tom Brady for the second time in, I believe, a 4-week span, and went up and taunted Tom Brady and just kind of went in his face, crossed his arms, and smiled. I was like, all right, I like this guy. Let's see what he's got going there. I remember watching that game. I remember him picking off Tom Brady. I also remember him getting a little bit of a kerfluffle, as yesterday's guest, Trey Thomas, would say. When he was playing against Chicago Bears in Chicago, he got into it a little bit there with Wims, and we'll get into that. But this guy is absolutely a pain in the ass. Maybe at times over the line, inappropriate, as one allegation goes, and other times just flat out funny. One of the things we'll hear when we do our little locker room report here with Howie and Nick Sirianni is that he may give Darius Slay a run for his money. But the bottom line is this. He did play safety in college. He's a Florida Gator, as is Howie Roseman, so they have that in common. But this guy brings versatility, a physicality factor, a trash-talking factor, and an overall love of the game to Philadelphia. I think he's going to be a fan favorite. I think he's going to give a lot of people, at times, Green Goblin vibes. I think he's going to be a guy like Jalen Mills that will wave his finger in the air after he allowed a touchdown pass in the first quarter, and then he breaks up one play in the second quarter, and the fingers in the air and trash talking, and hey, look at me. I think that there's definitely going to be vibes of that, but I think there will also be vibes, people, just vibes of a safety that you could trust to make a play. Whether that's in the backfield, whether that's a little safety blitz you might dial up from time to time, whether that's just breaking up a pass downfield, I think he is going to offer a lot of versatility. I know a lot of people automatically, because of the trade with the Saints, they talk about getting Malcolm Jenkins all over again. I'm pumping the brakes right there. Now, we do this with, and I've said it a million times already, with Cam Jurgens. He's not Jason Kelsey, same style, sure. CD Deuce is not Malcolm Jenkins. Very similar style, though. He is going to have a very similar style. When you're talking about 1% of his snaps as a safety, it's hard to make the comparison. But when you try to sketch out and dream up how the Eagles are going to use him schematically, the only way that makes sense is to use him in a Malcolm Jenkins role, which is to say just very versatile. Yes, there'll be times where he's the deepest man on the field, like your strict free safety guidelines go. There'll be other times where he's at the line of scrimmage, where he's in the box, where he's coming up to make a play. And that will be how he is schemed to be used with this defense. We don't have a lot of tape on the guy, barely any, at the safety position in the NFL. But when you just look at his resume, when you look at how he's played the position, when you look at how he plays defense, when you look at how aggressive he has been, you can only assume that this is how the Eagles are going to use him. And as I would even say with Anthony Harris, a more experienced free safety, I'm not as worried about that position because I believe the other 9 guys playing in front of Marcus Epps and at the time Anthony Harris are so damn good that you're going to have a lot of leeway as a safety, where you're going to have guys not have as much time to get downfield because of the pass pressure up front. You're going to have quarterbacks looking more to check down. You're going to have them try to use their run game more. You're going to have corners like James Bradbury and Darius Slay and a guy in the slot already like Avonte Maddox who are pretty damn good at what they do. And oh my goodness, the Eagles actually invested a pretty damn good pick in a guy like Nakobe Dean and TJ Edwards coming off the year that he's having. And you have Hassan Reddick coming off the edge as well. Like, you have a good pass rush. You have good linebackers on this team. I can't remember the last time I said that, and that was true for both positions. So if there was going to be a time where you're either trying to break in a guy as a safety or you were going to have a safety position that wasn't as great, where maybe that box wasn't fully checked coming out of the preseason or training camp, you may, well, they got a little bit of wiggle room here because of the guys in front of them. The 9 guys in front of them are so damn good. Well, this would be that year to do it. So they're going with the break in a safety option here with CD Deuce. And I couldn't be more excited for it. Now, let's talk about this guy's personality. I mentioned it already. Matt Rule called him the greatest trash talker in the NFL. That came from CD Deuce missing a game against the Carolina Panthers and still talking jive with the Carolina Panthers pregame, to the point where Matt Rule had to come over to Johnson and put his arm around him and say, man, you're the best trash talker in the league, man. You're not even playing, and you're already talking this much smack from the sidelines. So that's a little badge of honor that CD Deuce has for himself, which is great. There's some stuff that is not so great, and I know you guys have probably seen the clip right now of him beating up the Atlanta Falcons logo behind one of the end zones. That's fine. That's all part of the trash talk. But I do want to talk about what happened in 2020 against Chicago Bears, because there was apparently 2 instances that year of CD Deuce, I'm going to keep on using it, getting punched by Michael Thomas in practice. So that's one instance of him being punched. And then in a game by Wims of the Chicago Bears. In that game, supposedly, well, not supposedly, there's video of him doing it. I won't keep berating you guys with CD Deuce. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson takes out the mouthpiece of Wims of the Bears during a little exchange they were having during the game. A little bit later in that game, Johnson and Wims are matched up against each other. You can see them trash talking. You see Wims go over to Johnson, and Wims pulls the mouthpiece out of Johnson's mouth and then punches him in the helmet. We can talk about how dumb that is at another time, but still pretty stupid. A little scuffle ensues. Watching that game live, I remember watching that game live and thinking to myself, what? It just went up and pulled the guy's mouthpiece out and then punched him? So Johnson and Wims start rolling around on the ground. Other teammates come in. Everyone gets separated, all that stuff. As it turns out, Johnson earlier in the game pulled the mouthpiece off of Wims's face mask. And then Wims, after he got thrown out of the game for later throwing that punch at Johnson, apparently told reporters that Johnson spat on him during the game. I don't know if that was ever confirmed or not, but not a good look for Johnson to have that allegation against him. The two, again, came to blows on the field. Really, the one blow came from Wims, and then that was it. Then he got thrown out of the game. And I just remember thinking, what the hell's going on here? There's got to be more to this. And sure enough, there was. Johnson pulled the mouthpiece off his face mask, off Wims's face mask first. A couple of plays later, Wims retaliates. In listening to Nick Sirianni talk about this from an offensive standpoint, talking about a defensive back at the time, now a free safety with the Eagles. In Sirianni talking about that, there's one word that came to mind when he was asked to describe what CD Deuce brings to the table. And he said, dangerous. He's a dangerous guy. If I could make a cross-sport comparison, because this is where I always go to it, he's a rat man in hockey. He's a guy that puts the quarter in the machine to get the other, to try to get under your skin, tries to agitate you. Now, it helps that he also has talent. It helps that he's also good at what he does. But all over that is a guy that knows how to use his personality, knows how to use his mouth to try to agitate the other team and get under their skin, try to make them do something wrong, try to get them to break character, if you will, have them concentrate on something other than football. Instead of that, just concentrate on how much this guy's pissing me off, how much this guy's pissing me off in front of me. That's what I think it's going to come down to a lot of times for a guy like him. That's what Nick Sirianni got into yesterday, talking about how he's a dangerous player on the field. And he's a guy that when you're playing against him, he's annoying you, he's agitating you, he's teasing you, he's trash talking you. But once he's on your team, you're not only glad that you don't have to face him, you also know that he is going to get under the skin of guys on the other side of the line of scrimmage. And anybody that goes up to the greatest quarterback I've ever watched, like Tom Brady, and just flexes his arms and smiles, hey, you got cojones, kid. You're welcome on this team. You're welcome on my team any day. And that's what he brings here. I think he will be automatically a fan favorite here in Philadelphia. I think he's going to be a guy that a lot of people really identify with. Yes, he will give us some vibes of maybe the overconfident type of, like I pointed out earlier with a guy like Jalen Mills when he did. But I think he's going to have far more talent, and he's at a position where I think if you use him properly and you can crack the code on breaking him in as a free safety with that little bit of learning curve that I highlighted already with the 9 guys in front of him, then I think you're going to have a guy that is going to easily fit in here in Philadelphia and match the intensity of this city. That's what I think about it. And I am ecstatic that they made this move. And look, the bottom line is we all looked at the safety position and said, this is a huge question mark. If they could just do something to upgrade this position, and I think they have done something to upgrade that position. Not necessarily the old textbook free safety role, but in terms of what they want to do, what they want to accomplish by having that versatility, they have certainly gotten that with Johnson. So I am excited to see him patrol the secondary for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what I think about it. Well, let's hear from Howie Roseman, some of the moves yesterday. We'll also let you hear from Nick Sirianni with some of the other moves. They covered it all yesterday when it came to bringing in Johnson. They talked about it yesterday by keeping Reed Blankenship as another safety spot there. They talked about it with Jalen Reagor, keeping him here in Philadelphia. And then one of the other things that I'll get into, friend of the show, friend of mine, Ruben Frank, asked a beautifully structured question yesterday. And he was talking about how, a couple of years ago, you guys were looking at Travis Fulgham as hopefully a guy that would help you at the wide receiver position. Now you have A.J. Brown. Now you have Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal, Jalen Reagor. Like, not to put those guys down, but this is a pretty nice upgrade. Beautifully structured question from Rube. And it's true. Of all the positions you could look at on this team, I feel like other than offensive line, I feel like you can feel the absolute best about the wide receiver spot for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I didn't think that was going to be the case coming out of last year. I thought you could have a lot of confidence in Devontae Smith. I thought Quez Watkins, I don't know if he's a number 2 guy here, but he's pretty good. But A.J. Brown certainly shores that up. And then you factor in the idea of having guys like Kenny Gainwell out of the backfield that can catch the football, Boston Scott that can catch the football out of the field. Miles Sanders hopefully comes into the season healthy, regardless of this hamstring injury. One thing I will take away from camp is that he was catching the ball coming out of the backfield, Miles Sanders was, which was not the case at all last year and really hasn't been the case in his career, but especially coming out of camp last year was, not good hands. And Kenny Gainwell was a guy looked at as the guy to be that receiver out of the backfield. Well, with these wide receivers, with this tight end, with this offensive line, with these running backs, still like to see maybe another upgrade at the running back position. But with what you have offensively speaking, Jalen Hurts should have no shortage of weapons when they start the season in Detroit against the Lions. Before we get to our locker room report and what the guys had to say at the press conference yesterday, let me tell you about my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price every day. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Now, what's the perfect price, you ask? Well, I'll tell you what the perfect price is. The perfect price means no negotiating, no haggling, no being nervous when you got to make a big jewelry purchase. All you do, sit there, get walked through everything by a real jewelry expert and concentrate on what you want to buy. Because other jewelers like to mark things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks, make you feel like you want something. Well, Steven Singer, forget about that pressure. Forget about that haggling. Forget about that negotiating. Forget about all that rigmarole. Just sit down and relax and just marvel at all the beautiful, dazzling diamond inventory that they have at Steven Singer Jewelers. And know you're going to get taken care of and treated like family and not taken advantage of when you're going to buy a diamond. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price every day online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, let's jump into what these guys had to say yesterday. First off, Howie and Nick were just asked about the trade in general, bringing in a guy like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
He's one of the only guys practice every day. I mean, excited to add him. He's a heck of a player. He loves football. Obviously, he went to the right college. We'll just get him in here as quickly as possible, and I know our coaches will do a great job of getting him up to speed.
Where does he fit in schematically, and how do you reconcile all the time in the slot versus it sounds like he's going to play safety? How can he fit in?
Yeah, we got a good player in him. There's no doubt, and so that's our job as coaches to have a plan, and we do. I think at this point right now, it doesn't benefit us to talk about how we're playing them, where we're playing them, because we're in game plan week right now, and so that the fact that he didn't have any snaps here with us, is an unknown to Detroit, and so we'll keep it that way. But when we get good players in here, it's our job to figure out ways to use them, and we've obviously talk about that at depth, and we look forward to having them in here and letting them contribute.
You're going to see him a lot at the line of scrimmage. That's what I got out of that. You're going to see him a lot closer to the line of scrimmage more often than not. Look, even with Brian Dawkins, towards the end of his career, he was close to the line of scrimmage. Malcolm Jenkins played in the box more than anybody when he was here in Philadelphia. Also, special teams roles, played every snap. Like, we all know his versatility. This is nothing new. The safety position, other than maybe nickel corner, the safety position may have changed the most in terms of scheme and like build of safeties in the last 20 years. Like, we can talk about linebackers. Linebackers now look like safeties 20 years ago. Like, that's kind of the way that's kind of worked out. And now safeties look more like a little bit more bulked up corners. But the safety position used to be, there was the free safety that was always deep, and then there was the strong safety that kind of was the more versatile of the two. Now that's not the case at all. Now it's all about the free. Now you don't even have free safeties and strong safeties anymore. You have two safeties. And I remember even talking to Sheldon Brown about this years ago, because there was talk about Sheldon Brown possibly moving to the safety position because he played that position for the Gamecocks at South Carolina. So there was talk about him possibly going to the safety position to take over for Brian Dawkins when Brian Dawkins went to the Denver Broncos. Still stings to say that. But there was talk about it. So I asked him about, well, what would you play? He goes, well, nowadays, it really doesn't matter. You can play any position as a safety. There's no longer the structure of free safety and this is your job, and strong safety and this is your job. They're so interchangeable. And that was 15 years ago, thinking about it. Now it's gone from those two roles being interchangeable to those two roles basically morphing into fast linebackers. And now you have a guy that, yes, will be deep on the field, but then the other guy will be up, and then the other guy will be up, and then the other guy will be down, like closer to the line of scrimmage, playing in the box. They look at Johnson right now, and they see a guy that can fill that role of versatile safety, being deep, and then also coming up to the line to make a play. Reading a screen, trying to make the stop on the outside, avoiding the offensive line, the guard who might be pulling to make that block downfield. That's how they look at the position right now, and quite frankly, that's how they should be looking at the position right now. Anthony Harris, I think, was a bit more of that old school mentality of wanting to just stay in that spot and be more of a traditional free safety. that's not what they wanted to do. And when I saw that he was released, my eyebrows definitely raised and went, I'm sorry, what was that? Of the two guys, that wasn't the one I was really worried about. If they wanted, no, here's what you can say about it. For the people like myself that wanted this Eagles team to be a lot more aggressive, this is a big tip of the scale to the aggressive, more so than passive style of football. This is a better hint that the Eagles this year, with Jonathan Gannon's scheme this year, could be playing a lot more aggressive football. That's a good hint at all of that. The fact that they made this trade for a guy who's known for not being shy about stepping up and making a play. This guy played in the slot, all right? So he's not afraid of the line of scrimmage even a little bit. So that was what Howie and Nick had to say about. Now, as far as his personality, here's the way Howie broke down CD Deuce's personality.
We spent a lot of time with him in the pre-draft process. I think from our perspective, we did not feel like he was a fourth-round pick. He kind of fell a little bit in the draft, and he loves football. He's got a passion for the game, and he's not afraid to show it. And I think that what Coach does with our team is he lets them show their personalities, and he lets them be them. And I don't think anything that we found on him it's malicious. He just loves to play, and I think our fans like that. I know our team does, and that may frustrate offensive players and receivers at times, but it's all because he's got a passion for this game, and so we like that. That makes practice fun, and we'll see if he can compete with Slay.
Compete with Slay, of course, to be the biggest trash talker on the team. Slay, I think, is just a funny smartass. I think a guy like Johnson literally wants to be a little ninja and crawl inside your brain and just hack it up to the point where you can't even think straight because you're so agitated. I think that's his goal. I think it's part of his game. I think Slay's out there just having fun, being loud, being funny. I think a guy like CD Deuce, I think he's out there trying to make mincemeat of people's brain cells. They don't even know if they're coming or going. Their heads are spinning so much. All right, let's get to the guy that I know nobody wants to talk about, but we got to talk about him. Jalen Reagor. I look at Jalen Reagor, and you guys know how my idiot brain works, I think, in terms of movie quotes way too often. But for the movie Office Space, I look at Jalen Reagor, and I say, what is it you say you do here? And I'm a people person. I have people skills. It's a jump to conclusions, Matt. Well, I wanted to jump to the conclusion, how's that for a tie-in, that Jalen Reagor wasn't going to be here. Never fully believed that they were going to cut him. I was hopeful that they would, just show that they could move on. You bring in Deon Cain. He's a bit of a veteran receiver, so to speak, if you want to go there. Has the history with Nick Sirianni being with the Colts. Sirianni was still with the Colts when they drafted Cain. He had a good preseason, showed the physicality factor. Is a 6'2" wide receiver. I think he plays more like a 6'4", 6'5" wide receiver with that physicality that he brings to the table. Good hands. Showed he was already on a good same page with Gardner-Minshew as a backup quarterback. So, look, it just shows that when he gets reps with a quarterback, he can get on the same page with him rather quickly. So that's a good sign. And the Eagles chose not to keep him on the 53-man roster. Instead, they chose also to move on from Devin Allen. That was not a surprise. I had been saying that for weeks. And they chose to stick with Jalen Reagor. So Jalen Reagor is your fifth wide receiver in this bunch. No one's excited about it. No one's happy about it. I think everyone understands the business aspect of this. He's a first-round pick. The Eagles are not ready to move on from the first-round investment and ready to say, oh, no, it was a complete mistake. That's what cutting Jalen Reagor this year would have been. Complete mistake, take him in the first round. I could have told you that. I was saying that at the time. I was saying that even before the time. A lot of people were. I'm not alone there. I wanted Justin Jefferson. They didn't go there. Here is Howie Roseman on justifying keeping, and Nick Sirianni, justifying Jalen Reagor still being on the roster.
He's one of the only guys practice every day. I mean, the guy brought it every day. He worked on his craft. He had a great attitude, great energy. Obviously, he's a talented guy. He's 23 years old. And, we're going to do whatever we think is in the best interest of the team. And we felt like there's no doubt in our mind that he deserved a role on this team.
Nick, can you just follow up on that from a football standpoint, what you saw?
Yeah, I just felt like he made plays this summer, and it started right from the beginning. From the day one of training camp, and it continued on throughout the practices that we had. And you could definitely see the explosion. That he's never lost that, right? He's had this explosion in his body, and he uses it to separate from the defense. And so, I just thought he had a good camp, and he made plays, and he was more consistent this year throughout training camp.
Okay. There's nothing else that can be said about Jalen Reagor. None of us have confidence in Jalen Reagor having some kind of breakout year. I think that's pretty safe to say. Not only that it won't happen, but that none of us have confidence that all of a sudden Jalen Reagor is going to have some incredible season where Howie Roseman there'll be like, I don't think we're going to see a meme of Howie Roseman looking down with the binoculars and like Jalen Reagor after a touchdown catch and it'll be like, told you so. Like, I don't think we're going to see that. I don't think we're going to get that. That's going to be bad. This is not going to end well for Jalen Reagor here in Philadelphia. He's here because he's a first-round pick, and the Eagles are not ready to punt on him being a first-round pick. And they're not willing to punt yet on that investment. They held on to J.J. Whiteside. They were making him a tight end, for crying out loud. He was only a second-round pick. Still getting velvet rope treatment there for Jalen Reagor. Hey, you know what, Jalen? Go prove us all wrong. Go ahead. Now that the expectations aren't there, the first-round pick moniker is still going to be on you and all that, but go out there and prove us all wrong. Like, I don't root for a demise of anybody. Please prove us wrong. I just don't have confidence that he will. It's Howie on that yesterday. Now, one guy that I was really excited about, really excited about, as excited as you can be about a preseason, like a guy playing to win a job. I was tweeting out, the Phillies were playing at the time, and the Eagles were playing at the same time. Somebody's like, "Oh, you're watching the meaningless preseason game?" Because I tweeted something about, I think it was Jordan Davis getting double teamed 5 of the 7 snaps that he was out there against the Dolphins. And you're watching that, not the Phillies. It's like, well, yeah, I can. First off, I can watch both, whether DVR or 2 screens. So I think we're all good in that scenario. But I don't think it's meaningless. These are guys fighting like these. One thing I can say is about the third preseason game, you're going to watch the last preseason game. You're going to watch guys with their last chance to make it. And I think there's something to be said for that. And if a guy jumps out to you in that third preseason game, I want to see that guy make the team. And that guy for me was Reed Blankenship. I didn't know anything about Reed Blankenship before this offseason. I don't think I've ever watched the Middle Tennessee game ever. Maybe I don't know if I did. I don't remember. This guy started every year in college, all 5 years at Middle Tennessee. Comes on to the Eagles as an undrafted free agent. And the next thing I know, I'm seeing a couple tweets about him in training camp. Okay, Blankenship. That's an easy name to remember. I'm watching him in the preseason being like, damn, this kid's aggressive. Good for him. All right. And then I watched him in preseason game number 3 against the Dolphins, and he's throwing his weight around. He had a touchdown-saving tackle down the sideline. He had a tackle 5 yards past the line of scrimmage that he came up at the free safety spot, came up to make the play. He wasn't at the line. He came up from deep to make a play and pop the guy. I'm thinking, damn, son, go win yourself a job. And I was looking at the safety position, and I saw Tart got released. I saw, obviously, Anthony Harris got released. And I'm thinking, are they going to – well, first of all, I'm expecting a move. I didn't expect it to be CD Deuce, but nonetheless, there we were. And I'm like, damn, all right. I looked at the depth chart. I looked at the 53, the final 53, and I went, hot damn, son. Good for you, Reed Blankenship. Here's your general manager and your head coach talking about what you bring to the table.
Reed's a 5-year starter. It's just you don't see many of those guys going, and
419 tackles.
It's unbelievable, And so, Reed's one of those guys. He started the last man in that group, and every day, like Coach says, we evaluate practice every day. We evaluate everything he did, and he continued to show up. He had a feel, and I don't want to put too high expectations on him, but he kind of like reminded me of a guy like Quentin Michael, who we had here, and just He's got physical tools, but he's always around the ball. And credit to him and our coach for putting him in position to make plays. And we wanted to recognize that, because we had a smaller draft class. We wanted to give everyone an opportunity to make this team. So.
There we go. I don't know what's happening. All right. Eagles are just impressed with the guy being aggressive. Eagles are impressed with a guy that was a 5-year starter in college. What did they say? 419 tackles? Is that what I heard? That's insane. I'm happy to see a guy like him who no one expected to make the roster, especially in a safety position. So good for him. Undrafted rookie making his way onto the final 53. Absolutely love it. The Rager move is a move that a lot of people, like I said, weren't surprised by, but expected. Same thing for me. Hopefully Deion Kane is able to stay on the Eagles practice squad. Hopefully that all shapes up well for the Eagles. And the final 53, as I look at it right now, there is not a position that I look at and I have a huge cause for concern. And if you can say that going into the regular season with training camp done, preseason done, then your general manager did his job. Now, what if there was one more thing? You guys ever watch Columbo? There's one more thing. What could have made yesterday better? What could have made yesterday better? Well, let's see. The Eagles made a key acquisition. The Phillies were at night, so I'm not including that during the day. They don't exist to me right now. What could have made yesterday's better from a football standpoint? Jeez. Let's see. The Cowboys only kept one quarterback. That's laughable. That's funny. Cowboys are stupid. It's always good to laugh at the Cowboys. What if a Cowboys beat reporter showed envy of the Philadelphia Eagles? What if a Cowboys beat reporter was defending and, quite frankly, praising the Philadelphia Eagles while diminishing and browbeating, in a way, the Dallas Cowboys? What if I told you that that's exactly what happened yesterday? If you don't know him already, I want to introduce you to a guy named RJ Ochoa. He writes for Blogging Dem Boys, okay? And he was getting some tweets regarding the Eagles day yesterday and their acquisition. The first thing he pointed out was the terms of the deal here from Adam Schefter. And he simply quotes that tweet by saying the Eagles front office is elite. What? Could there be jealousy in Big D directed at the Eagles? Yes. Then, a little bit later, he gets this little question here from this person, Kelsey, Kindrup, whatever, and says, yeah, because they're so successful lately. That's called sarcasm. Do you know what sarcasm is? No. All right. And he says this, in response to that, yeah, because the Eagles are so successful lately, he responds by saying, the Eagles last won a playoff game the same exact year the Cowboys did. Philly also won a Super Bowl the year before that. Philadelphia's roster is head and shoulders above Dallas's right now, and, in capital letters, they have far more draft capital than the Cowboys. They are much more elite thinkers/doers. Ladies and gentlemen, RJ Ochoa telling it like it is. Basically, the Cowboys are garbage and the Eagles are not. So there you go. There you have it. I am pleased to announce to you right now that tomorrow's guest of the show will be RJ Ochoa of Blogging Dem Boys. I'm not kidding. I reached out. I saw those tweets. I said, love it. Got to get you on my show. And he's like, yeah, man, let's party. I was like, cool. So RJ Ochoa will join us on the show tomorrow to give us and I told him, because he is a Cowboys beat writer. I said, look, man, I don't want to do a Cowboys suck segment with you because, I don't want to make it seem like you're betraying your own people. But I want to do a state of the Cowboys. And in that, it will ultimately just turn into how much the Dallas Cowboys suck, which is always a good thing in Philadelphia to talk about. It's always fun. And look, I don't disagree with anything. I think the Cowboys are garbage. And I think he's making very good points And they also help me to support my own feelings. So why not have the man on and give a state of the Cowboys? So he'll join us tomorrow on tomorrow's program. Before we get to our chat check today, let me tell you about Manscaped. That's right. Fellas, you want to look good everywhere, right? Right? Yeah, you do. That's where Manscaped enters the conversation, especially their Platinum Package 4.0, because that is incredible. And it's the biggest ultimate hygiene bundle yet, the Platinum Package 4.0. Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is included, as well as the Weed Whacker. It's a Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer that includes skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks, so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Plus, ultra premium body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, crop preserver, anti-chafing ball deodorant, crop reviver ball spray toner. Fellas, come on now. Treat yourself. It also includes the anti-chafing boxers and the shed travel bag that you'll use to hold all the goods that you'll use to take care of your goods from Manscaped. And how would you like 20% off Manscaped? Use promo code Farzy at manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off and join the 4 million men worldwide who take care of the hibbity-dibbity with Manscaped products. Manscaped.com, 20% off. How about Freestone Farm CBD? Yeah, I said hibbity-dibbity. That's right. Enjoy the rest of your day. How about Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off your Freestone Farm CBD order at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You'll enjoy their all-new strain menu. Supremely good CBD right there at prices that you'll love. Like, how about this? Insane tropical tasting Bayox? Clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%. And did I happen to mention ever on the show their half Hindu microphone issue? Kush. That clocks in at 21%. The genetics of these guys are off the charts. And they grow all their premium hemp flower in the garden state with all their organic inputs and IPM. There's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all the plant compounds with the perfect 3-month cure. Just one look or smell is enough to let you know it's CBD done right. And it's good for anyone that's looking to take a natural approach to anything that's put in their bodies. So once again, Freestone Farm CBD, use promo code Farzy for 20% off at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You know what? One more time, just for my OCD, for CBD. Kush. There we go. That was cleaner. That was cleaner for you. How about Blue Chew? Little issue in the bedroom? Blue Chew. BlueChew.com. Help yourselves out, fellas. You know what's sexy to a woman? A man who takes care of a problem. That's what's sexy. That's what they tell me, at least. BlueChew.com helps you with that problem. Blue Chew helps men combat all forms of ED. And it's an online prescription service. So there's no embarrassing trips to the doctor or pharmacy, as Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. So you don't got to worry about that overheard conversation at the doctor or the pharmacy. No. Right to your house in a discreet package. You sign up at BlueChew.com. You consult with one of their licensed medical providers. And once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And it's all done online. Blue Chew, an online prescription service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form. Also, Blue Chew's licensed medical providers will work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. And if you don't like swallowing pills, no problem here. Blue Chew's tablets are chewable, so it's not just a clever name. Blue Chew's tablets are also made right here in the good old U.S. of A. So your lovemaking is American-made. I have so much fun saying that line. Once again, here's the special deal for our listeners and our viewers. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code Farzy. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. Use promo code Farzy to receive your first month free. Just pay $5 shipping. Promo code Farzy at BlueChew.com. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsStation.com. Let's jump into the chat check, see how all you guys are doing. Kevin leading off for us. What's going on, Kevin? What's going on with the Phillies? Kevin, I told you, they don't love you anymore. The Phillies, they don't love us. They are, again, playing down to their opponent, something I thought we alleviated ourselves of. And they have decided to go out to Arizona. And they have decided to make you parched for wins again. And that's where we're at. Only a half game up in the second wild card spot. Mullet took our lumps. Let's get back on the horse, Phillies. Good morning, everyone. Mullet, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Mullets, thank you. Good morning. Sean Gillespie, the Phillies did not remember their poo from the previous game and did worse. Their poo from the previous game? Oh, you're talking about the bug, the scoring bug? There you go, Sean. PJ producing the show, of course, chimes in with the Farzy show account. Why do I choose to love a sport that hates me back? Baseball. I don't disagree. No lies detected. Popeye the Sailor Man at Farzy show, because your love for the sport transcends the love of the team. Probably. April. Yeah, espresso, quote unquote. No, it's espresso. Can you get a shot of it? Can we see this? Can we see that? Yeah, that's the remnants right there of the espresso. This is the part that I got to be careful with Lil Toots, because I'll have this just like on the count. I'll just like next to me on the sofa, and she'll come over and knock it back. The remnants. By the way, this sound, that's music to me. This is when I was in Paris a couple months ago, and I was in Europe and like when I was in London. This, like, you can't just like the coffee culture. Up your game. Up your game. Paris and London, up your game. Like London, at least they got the Pret Mangers, or what do they say? The Pret Manger, right? They got all those all over the place, which are like a combination Wawa Starbucks. They're pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. But like Paris, I had to like fight people to find coffee. Like what I like about Italy is like everywhere you walk, there's a cafe. There's a cafe somewhere. Like you don't walk a block without passing 10 gelato stands and 10 places to jump in and get an espresso. So like, just saying, if anyone's doing any traveling soon, just know if you're an espresso freak like me, and then you walk into a cafe and then you hear this, man, that's music. That's beautiful. I love that. Clickety clank clank, clickety clank clank. All right. Anyway, April, yes, that is espresso. I will say, house guest recently, and they said that I have the best espresso they've ever had in the United States. I don't roast my own beans. I've told you guys where I've got them. I get them from my friends over at Grand Cafe Lockwood. That's where I get them, just to bring you into the fold. Honestly, I would rather Nola get that start of his system. April, when you have a career worst night like Aaron Nola had last night, yeah, I hope that's out of his system, and that's not par for the course for what he's going to do in September, because September's for him have not been good. They have not been positive. Mally, what's up, Mally? What's going on? Sean Gillespie, Phillies and us fans are like Will and Jada. One doesn't love the other, and it's embarrassing. Sean, that's beautiful. Everyone's saying hello to it. Jim Grassmeter, what's going on? April, obviously he's a talented guy. Obvious to who? April, they see Jalen Reagor and they see the investment. They don't see what he actually is. Not to be that guy, but somebody spent all the last 10 seconds on the name. PJ putting out Blogging Them Boys, an odd name. PJ, he'll be a guest of the show tomorrow. But you're right, totally. Somebody spent 10 seconds to think up that name. How do you give up dozens of runs to one of the worst teams in baseball the past 2 nights? Well, Jim, because they're doing that thing we thought they were done doing, which is playing down to their opponents. And why are they doing that? Because they don't love us. Analytically speaking, I don't want to speak over anybody's head here, but just to use analytics, they don't love us anymore. That's why. By the way, I am curious to see if, like, Rob Thompson comes out after tonight's game, another 9:40 start time. I'm curious to see if he comes out to talk to the media, and he was like, yeah, we looked at Aaron Nola totally tipping his pitches. Totally tipping his pitches. Here comes the fastball. High and inside. April, creativity isn't their strong point. This is Blogging the Boys. All right. Mahai? Am I saying it right? Sanchez? They say, I hate the Diamondbacks as much as the Mets, laugh out loud. I don't know if that's possible. Sean, Phillies dropped a turd in the first Arizona loss. Yeah, the flushing poo analogy. That's what it came from. Sorry, Mullet. Yes. The flushing poo technology. There we go. Hi, thank you so much. I'm glad I always like to pronounce people's names right. And I like to consider myself a man of culture. Anyway, Mullet says, yeah, the flushing of the poo analogy, it came back up, broke the plunger in half and overflowed all over the finest Turkish rug. Mullet. Fine job by you. Jim Grassmeter, September Nola started a little early this year. Yeah, hopefully not. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are great. You know, I love you. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much. Let's get into our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies back at it tonight, 9:40 start time, looking to avoid the sweep at the hands of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Phillies now lost 3 in a row. So that's not good. In tonight's ball game, Tommy Henry gets the start for the Diamondbacks. Bailey Falter gets the start for the Phillies. Tommy Henry is a left-handed pitcher. He's 3-2 on the season with a 3.25 ERA. And as fate would have it, he's a rookie. So let's go ahead and hope the Phillies can get to a rookie. Now, the thing is, in his last 2 starts, he's gone at least 5 innings, allowing just 1 earned run. He's given up 1 home run in that span, and in his last 5 starts, so it was 5 starts this season, as his first start came just a little bit less than a month ago. The start of this month, April 3rd, was his first start. He went 5 innings, allowing 4 runs. Ever since then, he's allowed just 1 more start where he's allowed 3 runs over 5 innings of work. So hopefully they're able to get to the lefty today. Hopefully they're able to get to the lefty. That's what the Phillies got going on. Tomorrow, like I said, RJ Ochoa will join the show from Blogging Them Boys, and we'll get his takes on all things Eagles and Cowboys as we get a state of the Cowboys. Go behind enemy lines on tomorrow's show. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Much appreciated. Jim Hyde approved this program. Did a phenomenal job. As per usual, this is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer Jewelers. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. See ya.